Hello everyone, my name is Lowko, and today it is time for a bit of a special match of Professional StarCraft 2. So here's the thing, this is a game that was recently played at the World Championship Series Spring. The tournament literally, if you're watching this on the Monday where I'm uploading this video, the tournament literally wrapped up last night, and thankfully the replay pack is already available. Now, even though neither of these two players made it to the grand finals, I think everyone has pretty much agreed upon the fact that this was by far the craziest game of the event. And well, I wanted to preface this by saying that I caught the tail end of the match. I didn't get to see it live, but already a couple of drones are making their way across the map. Okay, quick introductions. Spawning in the top right-hand corner from North America, we have none other than Neeb and, of course, his opponent. Doing crazy builds, I mean, that's kind of what this Ukrainian is very well known for. We have a Bly. Okay, so we should be in for a treat here. Here's the thing. A Proxy Hatchery is already going down at the 1 minute mark of this match. Man, I think I was answering some email or something while this game was playing in the background, and I kind of was watching a little bit, but you know how that goes, right? Personally, I'm not very good at multitasking. Generally speaking, well, I'm pretty decent at, like, playing StarCraft and talking and all that, right? But generally speaking, whenever I try and, like, do other tasks at the same time, I just can't focus on it. Doesn't really matter all too much, because at the very least right now, if I would have seen the full match, right, I would have never casted this for YouTube. At the very least right now, I get to cast it and share this game with you as well. Okay, so Proxy Hatchery. Proxy Hatchery is not something that professional Protoss players see all that often. Already, we have Neeb scouting around right here. He did send a probe across the map, and there we go, he finds out what's going on. He did send a probe across the map to figure out exactly what was going on the Zerg side of things, and he didn't find a hatchery. That immediately apparently sent an alarm bell off inside of his head, and Neeb decides to chrono boost out that very first Zealot. Cybernetic score is going to finish up here, so he's going to have that option to go for maybe a couple of adepts or maybe even a stalker. We'll see what his plan is. But obviously, with the cyber core done, he can also start getting that shield battery. Now, drones have actually been pulled from the main base of Bly, so I think he plans on building spine crawlers right here onto the creep. A couple of Zerglings right now are being built right here as well for Bly. He's got a queen coming up on this hatchery on the other side of the map. Keep in mind, his economy by no means is weak, but it's nothing amazing, right? If this game does not end within the next couple of minutes, it's going to be very, very difficult here for this Zerg player to maintain a solid grip on the match, just because there's already a second Nexus here available here for the Protoss player. One of the spine crawlers right there was nicely forced to be cancelled there by Neeb, but the Zealot is going to pay for that with its life. Queen does spawn here, and in a one-on-one fight, a Queen does indeed win against the Stalker. Now, right now, that's an unfair battle if I've ever seen one. The Stalker has been joined by a friend as well, and these shield batteries are going to be very, very valuable. Thing is, though, this has taken long enough, and now the spine crawlers are finishing up. One of them is already done. Bly is looking to start poking his way through the front of the base of the Protoss. Here we go, Pokeboys are available. Queen has been saving up energy, so a transfuse will soon be available. There's a lot of shield batteries coming up, though, and this is going to be a very, very tricky situation here for Bly. I mean, these Stalkers, they're going to stay alive for a super long time, right? There is a transfuse. There we go. One of the Pokeboys does indeed get brought back to a decent amount of hit points. Neeb now investing pretty much all of his resources into just Stalkers and shield batteries. He has not made a single probe in a really long while. Well, one of the Stalkers actually does get caught off. The DPS right there of those spine crawlers and then the Zerglings is actually apparently high enough to pick off one of those Stalkers even while it's being healed right there by a shield battery. Shield batteries at the front are gone. You can technically target fire down a building as well with the shield battery, which means that it's going to be healing up the shields of the structure, but I don't know if you really want to do that, right? Like, that's kind of a waste. Right now, the Queen is going to be joined by a friend here as well, and that means that as soon as these units try and move out, right, the creep is going to start heading closer and closer towards the Nexus. Thing is, normally you don't really want to put down tumors, but when you have a second Queen, that certainly is viable. The Stalkers, though, in a really beautiful position. Excellent walling right here by Neeb, right? Really making the best of a really rough scenario. He's creating walls and different layers in his wall, so he can try and back up those Stalkers to the safety and try and reduce the surface area right there of those Stalkers as well, so they don't get surrounded by Zerglings. Those Stalkers, though, still trying their very best. Another one does join the fray right there. Good rally point there by Neeb. Does not rally it into the middle of those Zergling balls, but that gateway is going to fall. And with that, the majority of the production here of Protoss is gone. The American hero, Captain America, actually is back up against the wall. Zerglings right now, with that gateway gone, do manage to find a lot of surface area here, and they are actually starting to take out these Stalkers with ease. A lot of these shield batteries are running low. Now, keep in mind, they do indeed regenerate their energy over the course of time as well. So eventually, this is going to be, you know, this is going to be regenerating some of those spells as well, but still a difficult scenario right now. Neeb ended up losing the Cyber Core, which means that right now he can really only go ahead and produce, I guess, just a bunch of Zealots? I actually think, you know what? Even though I feel like Neeb had pretty much the perfect response, I think that even though Bly wasn't in a great spot here, he is starting to break through, right? I think he is. Another spine crawler will be built. A lot of these spines, though, are running low. Oh, that one. Oh, my God. Literally one Stalker hit away from dying. The Stalker does get surrounded as well. And now the Lynx make their way towards the main base. Bly, he used to play these strategies for a very long time, a couple of years ago. He didn't do them very often anymore recently. But man, am I excited to see these builds coming back into action as 8 probes end up dying. And right now, it's actually the Zerg player who is ahead economically as more and more of those resources are being harvested. Still though, spine crawlers, they are picked off. The shield batteries are regenerating energy, and there's still a second base available right here as well for Neeb. One cheeky little creep trooper trying his very best to just simply surround his entire base with creep as well. A lot of Zerglings are being produced. Queen injects are actually going to be very valuable here as well, but it still comes down to the positioning. The thing is, you can't build on creep, right? So it's really hard to actually recreate that wall here. I guess it's just the sheer amount of units here that will grant Neeb some of that surface area as well. But here we go. Zerglings are ready to surround some more of these high-value targets. One of the Zealots there does get picked off. More Spine Crawlers, though, will be created here on the back of this. And I think that this Pokey Boy here is going to be in a little bit of trouble. Now, once again, Zerglings are looking to try and make their way towards the main base. There is a sentry. Oh, my God. Clutch force field there by Neeb. Just barely manages to get that force field on the ramp, which allows him to, at the very least, prevent these Lynx from getting into the base. That would be a disaster. That's one juicy mineral line right there for those Zerglings. Still, though, even though one of the spine crawlers right there got picked off, the last one that was available, new ones are just about to join as well. And I kind of feel like Neeb needs to kill this before the Pokey Boys become available. Right? As soon as they start, once again, poking damage from afar, this is going to be an absolute disaster. By the way, I love the fact that he decided to take one of the gases. That really does hurt Neeb quite a bit here, who still has not had a chance to really get that much done. Once again, another force field, though, is available. Zerglings now coming from the backside of that gateway, and it's actually starting to deal, once again, a lot of damage right there to those Stalkers. Stalkers are being picked off one by one, and Zerglings now, with the sentries being low on energy, do manage to snipe the sentry and are now running into that main base here of the Protoss player. The Spine Crawler trying to root here, but it's not going to happen. Only one poke will be used there. And I guess even though this Stalker is kind of stuck, it's not going to be picked off very easily. Queens, though, do a lot of damage. It's actually the sustained damage here of these Queens that has been hurting Protoss a lot. Right? They don't really die to these units here unless they try to go off creep. That's kind of like the one thing that you don't want to do right here. But unless they walk off creep, they're not going to really die. They have transfuses, they keep each other alive, and they just simply provide that sustained damage. And once again, since Protoss is pushed back so far into the back of the Natural, Zerglings managed to flood into the main base. Neeb, though, did manage to produce at least a couple of workers. Yeah, he's now going to start going to town at the very least on that extractor. I kind of feel like he needs to get rid of it. Still, though, with those amounts of gateway units committed to the main base, that now means that the Natural is in trouble. More and more Zerglings are being produced. And you know what? This game is actually getting to the point where both players are going to mine out the main. Generally speaking, on 16 workers, right? 10 to 12 or so minutes into the game, depending on how much mining took place. 10 to 12 or so minutes into the game is when the main and the Natural generally start running low. Well, in this case, the Natural certainly isn't going to run low, but this certainly is something that will come into play. Look, the amount of resources available here for Bly are actually getting very, very close to zero. That's a lot of Zealots and Stalkers, guys. That's a lot of Zealots and Stalkers. Natural, though, now under fire. Neeb desperately trying to hold on. He realizes as well that he's going to run out of money in the main. He has produced some probes once again, which is nice and all, but they're not really going to be providing him that much value. As, well, those minerals are going to be gone soon. I guess he can use the probes for fighting purposes as well, but that natural is gone. I kind of think, yeah, Bly needs to take another base here himself. There we go. He's going to be able to have the resources right there for a hatchery. The Nexus gets picked off, and that is what Bly was looking for all this time. Apparently, though, Neeb has found the resources here to get himself a robotics facility. If he can get a warp prism out, that would be pretty good, but a natural indeed has been taken here for Bly, who needs to continue mining here in just a little bit. And all of a sudden, right, even though Neeb was in a wonderful spot here earlier, all of a sudden, the tables have been turned. It's now 2 base versus 1 in favor of the red Zerg. I love this. Oh, this is gonna be tricky, though. You can't really, like... You can't really put up, you know, this force onto the ramp, right? I mean, the Zealots are just gonna go to town very easily. There's that Sentry available as well. And Immortal is actually gonna be the name of the game. I figured he would go for, like, a War Prism here, right? Just to give all of those units blink, literally. That would be quite nice. Love the fact, by the way, that some of these Overlords are now here to provide some high ground vision. So that is obviously gonna allow these spine crawlers to get in range right there as well and to get the vision that they need in order to get some damage in. But right now, Bly is going to have a hard time to continue this aggression. He is going to try and do so, though. More and more spines are being built here. He's going to try his very best. Well, there we go. Oh, my God. That is one hefty Immortal. Target firing down as many of those spine crawlers as possible. Dealing a lot of damage here. Right now, he's taking some shots right there at those queens as well. But still, the Immortal does get pushed back. Indeed, it does live up to its name for now. But nope, it does get picked off as well. All of the Zerglings, though, are gone. The spine crawlers are still available. And I feel like Neeb should not have pushed down that ramp without a prism. The thing is, he's on a timer, right? He recognized the situation that he's in. Bly right now checking with an Overlord as well to see how many resources are still available. I can imagine he's got an evil smile on his face right now as he has secured his own natural. And that's going to allow him to continue mining here while the Protoss is running out. Supply-wise though, Neeb is still in a good spot. Finally gets that Prism. I really think the Prism is phenomenal here. Ah, that is a lot of damage though, right? Like that is... Yeah, no, you can't move down that ramp anymore. Basically, any Stalker that tiptoes to the bottom of the ramp is going to be poked and shot at with queens. Alright, well, I got some coffee. As we have a bit of a stalemate right here in the middle of this game. Is he actually going to... Oh, he's going to try and sandwich this. If he can pick off that hatchery, actually, that's pretty doable, right? Ooh, Bly right there sees that something's not quite right. He's trying to figure out where that Protoss army is located, as apparently Neeb is now going to try and evacuate those probes on out of there as well. Neeb going for the counterattack here. He sees a couple of those Stalkers leave, but this is a situation that you don't generally practice, right? Well, that is certainly going to be a lot of dead probes, though, but I guess it doesn't really matter too much. Zerglings do scout now that indeed Neeb has decided to move across the map. The drones decide to run, and even though this game started off with a proxy hatchery, right now we are in a base race scenario. Neeb is starting to target fire down some of those units here on the other side of the map. These Zerglings are basically running towards their graves because there's no way they're going to be able to deal that much damage. The Zerglings, though, on the other side of the map, they are picking off the last of the structures here of Neeb. There is, of course, that War Prism full of probes, right? One probe can drop down, and actually, no, I say that, but there's absolutely 0 units available. A recall indeed is forced. I was gonna say, there's no minerals available here for Protoss, so he can't really get that much done. The Queen's actually now caught off guard. A really sick recall there by Neeb. Forced the Zerg player to overextend, and now with the force field on the ramp, there's no way that these queens can leave. Natural was picked off. One Zealot, one Hero Zealot, still slicing and dicing away right there at as many of those drones as he possibly can. And Neeb now takes that supply advantage. He picked off those really valuable queens, and with the Prism back in the main base, he continues mining. That was so sick. So he used the Prism right there. I already said it's the best unit in the game, right? He used the Prism right there to elevate those units from the high ground to the low ground, and then to at least keep 8 probes alive, which is just enough to fully saturate the leftover mineral patches. And this amount of sentries, right? I mean, how many is that? That is 6 sentries. 6 sentries is enough to permanently force field the ramp. Look, as a StarCraft nerd, this is amazing. So wait, I'm trying to figure out who's actually ahead here. I mean, yeah, there's no way that these Stalkers are really gonna get that much done with this many, you know, with this many units nearby. Thing is, Neeb can't really move down his ramp either, right? I mean, that's too many spike crawlers. This could actually be a tie. If both players are gonna run out of resources in their main base, and if neither really wants to commit to pushing, it could be. This is actually starting to become a really crazy game. I mean, it was already pretty crazy, but right now I have no idea anymore who is gonna come out ahead here. Because this is really kind of strange, yeah. So Bly has recognized as well that he is out of money, right? His main base, there's about 400 minerals remaining in these 2 mineral patches. He's actually started long distance mining the natural right now. What was supposed to be the natural right here of Neeb. Couple of those phoenixes trying their very best, hallucinated phoenixes that is, trying their very best to figure out if there's any hidden bases. Obviously, we have full vision of the minimap and we know that there's no more bases mining anywhere. But, you know, for all Neeb knows right now, there could be a 3rd base up. That would kind of suck for him. Did that Prism go back home? Yeah, the Prism actually decided to go back home. It's picking off Stalker, or Overlords, which is actually very, very painful right now for Bly. Trying to keep some of these units alive as well, but of course, well, yeah, Neeb is not going to end up losing very many of those Stalkers if they are having a Prism for safety. Queen desperately trying to target fire down that Prism as well, but that pickup micro right there is beautiful, and obviously Protoss units do regenerate shields while they're inside of the Prism. So, a few people have actually suggested that maybe in order to make the Prism a less powerful tool, maybe Protoss units shouldn't be able to regenerate shields while they're inside of the Prism. Not a terrible suggestion, actually. Because in these kind of scenarios, it does look pretty insane, right? Not only does it give these units blink, it also just simply allows them to go back to full hit points. And now with that Stalker group on the other side of the map, Neeb is starting to pick off these drones one by one. Well, yeah, I think it's time to evacuate. Just get rid of the main base and just start long distance mining instead. Bly actually now has taken the hatchery over here. That is kind of wild. He's actually mining the base that was previously the one that Neeb had. I don't think he cares too much about this hatchery anymore or the gas geyser, but actually keeping the spawning pool alive is really critical. I don't think you need to target fire down the hatchery, honestly, Neeb. I think you need to go after the spawning pool here. I think that's more important. Dark Templar now actually available here for Bly. Is there anything? Is there anything to detect this? I actually missed that he was producing a Dark Shrine there. Oh my god, that is so much damage. He needs to get a Spore Crawler. Yeah, there you go. A Spore Crawler does get built, but the hatchery did force to get cancelled because he didn't have the resources to build a Spore Crawler there. All of a sudden, right, another hero, Dank Templar, making its way downtown, walking fast, faces past, and he's homebound to, well, no, homebound towards the base of the Zerg, I suppose. Spores, though, they do finish really quickly, and that is at the very least going to keep this army alive. But the hatchery is actually critical. You know what? Bly is going to lose his final hatchery here. This is his final hatchery, and he does not have the money to rebuild one. He's sitting at 26 workers. Or 26 minerals right there, and that's it. Like the recall right there. Oh, beautiful move actually by Neeb as well. If he makes like 2 Archons, that's phenomenal, right? That's gonna be super useful. This is the money that Bly has. He's now gonna have to use these drones, I guess, for mining or for like fighting purposes. Neeb is running out of money as well. He's got 110 resources remaining, so I guess that's like 2 more sentries, maybe? The thing is, though, those Archons, is the Prism still alive? I actually haven't been paying attention. Yeah, dude. Archons and a Prism. I mean, that's the heyday of Protoss, right? Oh, that is so... I've never seen anyone... What? How did that get out of there? Turns out Bly actually greased up his Spore Crawler in Vaseline. Innuendo, not, you know, intentional. Well, my god. Well, Neeb. Yeah, he's got the Prism. He's got the Prism and he's got 2 Archons. He's gonna be able to keep these Archons alive for forever, right? They're gonna regenerate shields. Just one of those static defensive structures at a time. In a straight up fight, though, if these Zerglings and drones get a good surround, I actually think that these Zerg units are gonna have some trouble. Still, though, the sentries obviously can provide a lot of value as well, right? I mean, they are just simply able to force field from that high ground because he's got the full vision here. This one Overlord is actually super critical. Bly, trying to be clever. trying to force some of those units down the ramp. The thing is, spines are not gonna, like... Oh, you gotta be careful. The War Prism is absolute key here. The Stalkers don't pick this up in time, I don't think, right? Like, the Queens are gonna be able to transfuse faster than these couple of Stalkers deal damage. Oh. Oh, this is insane. Alright. Oh, my god! The Prism! The Prism is at 8 hit points! Just go back! Go back, little Prism! Yeah, no, just wait. I honestly feel like Neeb just needs to wait right now. Just get it back to full shields. I mean, you know your opponent isn't mining, right? Well, I think he knows anyway. Nah, he knows that there's a lot of drones over here, so he knows that there's no mining anymore for Bly. He would have never kept those drones alive. Otherwise... Oh, the one Stalker is so very low. Why is he... So, you know what? The Spore Crawl is actually super annoying here, right? Those were made with the intention of killing the Dark Templar, detecting the Dark Templar. But it's now kind of also not allowing this War Prism to get in a good position either. If these Archons get picked off, or worse, if the Prism gets picked off with a couple units inside of it, that would be tremendous. Beautiful force fields right there by Neeb. Bly tried to move forward to snipe the Prism. But the sentries there are indeed the tool to the victory. As Neeb obtains the victory in an absolutely ridiculous game of StarCraft 2. I hope you enjoyed watching this. I mean, I can't imagine if you're a fan of StarCraft, right? And you've seen 1,000 macro games that you do not appreciate a game like this. I mean, it's... There's so much skill involved, and players are trying so hard to outsmart each other. This is one of those terrains in the game that is still relatively undiscovered, right? I mean, this is like both players thinking on their feet and trying to make the best of a really weird scenario. The macro game, they've played that 1,000 times. They know how to respond in every scenario. And I guess Bly has also played these kind of games 1,000 times as well. So maybe he's a little bit quicker when it comes to thinking on his feet. But Neeb, first off with that beautiful war in the natural, just slowing down the advancement of the Zerg for so very long and getting this around on those Zerglings in the main base with the probes. I mean, all of it was really, really, really close. But then that counterattack, right? The elevator of the... or rather, using the War Prism as an elevator to getting those units out of the main base and then saving the probes inside of the Prism and then the mass recall. Such a clever way of playing. I hope you enjoyed watching this. If you did, hit that like button down below. And if you want to see more, hit that subscribe button so you get notifications as soon as I upload more. A special shout out to the Patreon supporters. You guys are awesome. Thank you so much. But for now, I want to thank you for watching. Have an amazing day. Do not forget to smile, alright? And I will see you once again in the next one.